In this lesson, I'm going to talk about the upgrades and different patches for the ServiceNow platform. From time to time, obviously the software gets updated, new hotfixes come in, new patches are placed. So we'll take a look at what are some of the best practices for you as the administrator to follow. So the difference between upgrades versus patches. ServiceNow organizes basically its releases into families. So a family is a set of releases that are named after a major city. And we talked about this in one of the earlier lessons, such as Helsinki, which is the most current one, Eureka, or Fuji. Within a family, releases are further differentiated by patch and hotfix number. So this is the hierarchy. So for example, you may have the Fuji patch 1, Fuji patch 2 with hotfix 1. So this is an example. So what is really upgrading? Because it's a cloud platform. What do we mean by upgrading? So upgrading is the act of moving to a release that is in a different family than your current release. So you may be running the Fuji release, but now the Helsinki is out and you might want to use that. So for example, if you move from Eureka patch 8 to Fuji patch 2, this is an upgrade because Eureka and Fuji are different families. So it's not necessarily the most current patch. It's just moving from one to the other is also part of the upgrading. And this is a good exam question. Patching is the act of moving to a release that is in the same family as your current release. So keep that in mind as well. There are three phases for the upgradation. First is the preparation. Here, benchmark existing system performance is made, error logs, and key functionality use cases to provide the current snapshot. And then you clone down from production. So this is the preparation phase. Then we have the sub-production validation. Here we can execute any necessary fixes and apply upgrades to the instances. Next, we perform the same benchmark tests just to validate that sub-instances are performing properly. The third stage is the production upgrade. We simply schedule and execute the production upgrade. Verify with all the key stakeholders, everyone within the organization, that the system is performing properly. Logs are clean and key functionality is available. So the three major phases while you're upgrading. Creating system benchmarks is also important. So after deciding which release you should upgrade to, it's important to analyze the current operating environment before, in fact, performing the upgrade. So you need to specifically review and focus on about four things. First is the key functionality, what it is that the new upgrade is going to give you. Second is the integrations. So for example, if you're running the SAP, Oracle, or any other Azure environments, you're integrated your ServiceNow platform. How does that going to affect? Next is the instance performance. So you may have different instances, right? For example, different URLs or different releases within the organization. And then also assign a consistent core team of power users. And I cannot stress this enough. It's important. So you need to make sure that you create a committee or a team of members. Those are power users. They understand the system. And then these individuals, these power users, in addition to the actual stakeholders, senior management, to validate important functionality in the ServiceNow instance before and after the upgrades. So clearly identify, create some benchmarks as to where you are now and what's going to happen after you upgrade. So in summary, I'd like to show you, in fact, the upgrade planning checklist. It's a PDF document. It's available on the ServiceNow platform. So next, let's take a look at what that is, and you can later download it if you like. So here's the ServiceNow upgrade planning checklist. You can simply navigate to this URL, wiki.servicenow.com images, or just search for the upgrade planning checklist and you'll get to this. So make sure you read through this That's good for the exam purpose as well. So in this checklist, notice it gives you different instances, right? So if you have production instance or other instance names, here's the phase 1, which is preparation. And we talked about the 3 phases, right? This just details out list by list, item by item, what goes in each phase and whether you've complied with this or not. So go through the preparation phase, scope and approach, for example. As I scroll down, you'll notice here's the planning phase. So within the planning phase, make sure you read and understand before you're actually upgrading. So a fairly lengthy document. I'm not going to go through all of it, but just to give you an idea where it's located and what it's all about. So in this lesson, I wanted to talk about the patches and the upgrades and best practices when working with the ServiceNow platform. So I hope this helps practice, and let's move to the next lesson.